My name is Karen Ellery Jones, and welcome to Karen Ellery Jones Presents. I'm here today with Larry Thayer. He is the President and Executive Director of Capabilities. Larry, thanks for having me here. And we're at their magnificent farm in Dennis, and we're in a hothouse full of 770 tomatoes and a lot of bees. So I'm just hoping that the bees don't migrate toward me, because you're going to see how fast I can run. You've been the Executive Director and President of Capabilities for quite some time. For those folks who don't know what Capabilities is, and I think, quite frankly, there's probably only a few of them who don't know the good work that Capabilities does for the community and for the participants, tell me the general mission.
Okay. Capabilities started back in 1968, so we have been around on Cape Cod now for 44 years, providing services to people with disabilities. And the premise of all that we do is trying to ensure that we can provide the types of supports that will enable each individual to achieve a meaningful role in society. And so that's going to vary according to each individual as to what their particular dreams and aspirations might be. But all of our programs are focused on trying to make sure that the participants are both satisfied and have a choice in terms of their particular goals. So we really have a very large and very extensive program covering virtually every program or every town here on Cape Cod. And the types of services that we offer range from residential supports to vocational services, transportation, and then other life skills or therapeutic services. And the agency really started by a group of concerned parents on the Lower Cape back in the days when it was relatively common for people with disabilities to be placed in institutions. As a matter of fact, people were in some cases actively discouraged from having their family member at home. And it was in the late 60s and the early 1970s that community mental health and community programs really became a much greater focal point. And over the course of these past 30 and 40 years, with the passage of the Americans for Disability Act, mainstreaming and inclusion in the educational programs, that people with disabilities have had the types of opportunities where they can really exercise their rights and be an integral part of their particular community. Some years ago, we started some entrepreneurial businesses in our vocational programs as a means of trying to increase the amount of year-round employment that was available to the people we support. Despite the growth on the Cape, we are still primarily a seasonally based, tourist-driven economy.
Right.
And our goal is to provide the type of work that people want to do on a year-round basis. And we found that if we in fact owned the businesses, we were in a position where we could control the workforce to meet the needs of the particular workers. And today we're here in the greenhouse, and this is one example of the type of business that we operate. We had the good fortune of having this property donated to us about 6 years ago, and started small. We had one small group of individuals working in 3 greenhouses. Today we have about 80 individuals that are working in some facet of the farming operation, and we have 6 greenhouses here on the property.
With more to come, right?
With more to come.
As the demand increases for your great products, and you throw up another greenhouse, and then the demand increases.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we are at a point right now where we can literally sell everything that we grow. We have a partnership with a number of very fine restaurants here on the Cape that feature our salads as part of their menu, so you could go in and actually order a capability salad at one of these establishments. And we have a retail operation here on this particular site. We have a salad club where people get a salad every day, every week, based on
Is
various...
that like a CPA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Same premise. Absolutely. And we also have a store down in Chatham, which we call Capabilities Farm to Table,
Right,
and
yes.
we also sell our produce down there to primarily individuals who are residing or vacationing in Chatham. So it's taken on a very exciting program component for us. We also have a rather unique piece of property in Marston's Mills, which is comprised of 6.5 acres of rolling farmland and stately trees, and it's a waterfront piece of property with a farmhouse that was built in 1750, and it has been identified as one of the 10 most important pieces of property in Massachusetts to preserve. So we're looking at how we want to develop that.
So you haven't developed that yet, that's just a piece of property right now?
We do.
But you must have some plans for it.
We are looking at how
Yeah.
we want to create a rather unique program on that particular site to meet some of the growing requests that we have for services. We do in fact grow produce outside there, so that rhubarb, as an example, is a product that we sell to the Centerville Pie Company. And then we have outdoor fields of lettuce and tomato and other squashes and crops that are also sold here at the farm.
Right. It seems as though the private industry has really partnered with you, capabilities as far as the produce goes, as well as kids at Stop and Shop and other places around Cape Cod. So maybe we could just talk about
Sure.
that. Because that seems like it's an instrumental part of the vocational experience for these kids.
Well, partnerships is an integral part of everything that we do with capabilities. We have found that it's a stronger product at the end when you can bring together and create win-win situations that are going to be beneficial to all parties that are involved in the partnership. So I mentioned the restaurants. That certainly buying local and eating healthy is all the rage these days, and restaurants like to feature local produce as part of what they're supporting, and so that's been a win-win situation.
And I know that folks can go on your website and actually list the restaurants and the chefs who are using your produce.
Correct.
So I would say to folks who are listening, visit these restaurants and tell these chefs' owners that you're here to sample all the great capabilities produce and thank them for using them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the Centerville Pie relationship is probably another example of a business partnership that we have. And this was a result of some exposure that happened through the Oprah Winfrey Show.
I know.
But we make the pies at our facility in Hyannis, and it's a situation where we had not only the space, but we also had the workers to do the type of work that they needed to meet the demand for their produce. And it's really turned out again to be a win-win situation. We were able, as a not-for-profit organization, to tap into some foundation and grant money that a for-profit business might not be able to do. And as a result, we created a significant number of jobs for people right here on Cape Cod.
Right. You also have the partnership with Stop and Shop.
We are doing a rather unique thing with Stop and Shop, and that's related to the food banks. And this happened as a result of a small program that we started in Falmouth. And I think everybody has probably seen the various bins that are available for people to leave donations for the local food banks. In conversations with them, we learned that they were really looking to create a program which was going to allow people to eat a healthier diet. And so an arrangement was made where we were able to put signs up on the local shelves that said, your local Stop and Shop in support of the local food banks is looking for this particular product. And people from Capabilities were involved then in collecting putting up the signs, collecting the food, bringing it back to the food banks. And the food banks subsequently were getting various items that were in line with what their goal was in terms of creating a healthier choice for the people who were using that service. And that's expanded from that one Stop and Shop in Falmouth to now Stop and Shops all over Cape Cod. And again, a partnership, because the Stop and Shop is benefiting. Obviously, people are buying more.
Right.
The local food banks are benefiting because they're getting what they're looking for. And Capabilities is benefiting because in addition to people receiving services, we also encourage the people that we are supporting in our various programs to give back to their communities, to volunteer, to do things that are making a difference for others who are also in need. And so that volunteerism becomes a very important piece of what we're trying to instill in the individuals that we're supporting. So not only does the agency as a not-for-profit organization use volunteers in a variety of our programs, you'll see volunteers that are here at the farm, in our residential programs, and in our various vocational services and life skills programs in the other sites that we operate. And they're an integral part of, again, trying to make sure that the people we're supporting are able to get the level of support that they really need.
Mm-hmm. How many participants in capabilities? How many? What is your
we have, again, that changes
right.
As the seasons and the years go on, but we're serving approximately 300 individuals at any given point in our various programs.
Would you say that capabilities is unique for a human services organization?
Well, I think that we are unique in as much as we have one foot in the social service end of things, and we have one foot in the business community. And clearly, when you're operating a not-for-profit organization, it has to run like a business. You have to use sound business practices in order to make sure that it's a viable organization and that you can continue to grow your mission. And so we are unique in that regard. We have found that we are getting calls from literally all over the country with people looking to come and to visit and to get an idea as to what we're doing and how we're doing it. I think the practice that we have found is that we want to grow small, we want to grow incrementally, and we want to make sure that what we're doing is important and has value, and that we're not looking just to go out and to jump into the next thing for the sake of growth.
Right.
And so unique, I think, in some ways as to how we've gone about doing this, and certainly unique that we've done it sooner than some other organizations have done.
Plans for the future?
Well, we're hoping that we're going to build out this particular facility here on Route 6A. We have some additional buildings we'd like to put up and some additional greenhouses. I mentioned the Marston's Mills Farm and a unique program that we're currently researching, and we hope to be able to get that off the ground in the distant future. Our residential program has shifted some models from what were primarily group homes, which when I came to Capabilities was comprised of residences that had 8 people in it.
Right.
Almost all of our residences right now have 4 individuals, and we started a program that we refer to as shared living or adult family care. And we have about 65 people now who are out living with families. So they're not in a 24-hour staffed residential program, but they're in a setting where staff are coming in, nursing supports, case management support, and following those people along to make sure that their treatment plans are being implemented.
So they're staying in their homes?
Well, they're not necessarily in their homes. They could be in the home of a provider.
Okay. Right.
And our feeling is that model is something that is allowing us to grow the program and see more people being served by an adult family care model. So I expect we'll see some growth in that particular area as well.
Okay. Well, Larry, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Karen Ellery Jones. I'm in the greenhouse of capabilities with Tom Zern. Tom, you're the Associate Director.
I am.
Executive Director here at Capabilities. And I have to say, I absolutely love your tomatoes, and I cannot wait to start mine at home. I used to say that my tomatoes were great, but yours are just prize winning.
Nice. Thank you.
Why don't you just tell me about the tomatoes here and the farm and what it does with for the community and how it helps the participants in Capabilities?
Sure. I think the tomatoes, I think, has kind of turned into our signature crop.
It
and
has,
I think it's
hasn't it?
what we're mostly known for. And I think that the whole point of the tomatoes, one of the really wonderful thing about the tomatoes is we've been able to really create, they're called Trust Tomatoes is the brand. and they're a real high quality tomato. And that was one of the things, one of our major goals when we started growing, was to grow really, really exceptional products and have that association and help the community understand the association of high quality products with people with disabilities. By having high quality products and even the process of growing them, that association becomes real and people with disabilities start to get that same feel of high quality. And that's what it's sort of all about. The tomato plant specifically, if you look at these guys, these were actually seeded January 5th, and they will be, we were hoping by mid-May we would be picking tomatoes, and if we get a little sunshine, we'll still be pretty close. But this is a hydroponic system, and it's set up a little bit different in that in these truss tomatoes, in a perfect scenario, there will be 7 sets of tomatoes throughout the tomato plant.
Okay.
And I mentioned a little bit earlier, we set them up in a little bit different system. They're in perlite, a combination of perlite and some
And
coco
perlite
coir.
is a growing medium.
It is, and basically it is a hydroponic system. The perlite and the coco coir is only there just to host nutrients for the roots and give them an anchor to the plant. But we do a little bit different in that these systems are all set up on tomahawks. And once this tomato plant reaches the top of the line there, we will take one wind of string down and move it over 6 inches. So again, this piece of here, this top 6 feet of the tomato plant will be moving down as we go throughout the summer and actually all the way into December. So in a perfect world, if these continue to grow the way we hope they will, there'll actually be about 25 to 30 foot of tomato with 25 foot of stem, and the last 6 feet of the tomato, again, growing 7 sets of tomato plants.
So these will produce tomatoes all the way until December?
Yeah, we will lose some of the plants, but by and large, the base of the tomato crop should be able to grow all the way through December. And in a perfect world, again, that we would look to get about 20 pounds per plant. And in this greenhouse right here, there's 770 tomato plants.
Our guesses were pretty good. We guessed earlier how many
They were very
tomato
good.
plants were in here.
You were what, 7? You were 800?
I was 800,
and
Paula was-
750. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Organization-wide, we'll have about 2,200 tomato plants with all of the places, all the greenhouses combined. So it's a lot of tomatoes. The demand for our tomatoes from the restaurants, as Larry was saying, and from our
retail.
Yeah, our retail, and in a couple farmers markets that we do has been fantastic. So as fast as we can pick them, we're selling them.
Okay, and these seeds were from Holland, is that right? They're
Yep,
Holland?
yep.
Okay.
They're a tomato seed that is used a lot indoors. They're a little bit more user-friendly for the conditions in the indoor grow.
Tell me more about the retail locations, because I know once people see the show, they're going to want to buy some of your tomatoes.
Yeah,
you have it here in Dennis.
we do. Our farm to table in
Right.
Chatham, and we do about 10 restaurants we work with, and we have done in the past 2 farmers market. We've typically done the Hyannis Farmers Market and the Osterville Farmers Market.
Okay, any plans to go into the rest of the farmers markets on Cape?
Not right away, just because we don't have the product. We sell everything we have right now, and that's a good problem. We have some plans for an expansion, but for right now, those are the locations we're doing.
No, I know that you've entered a lot of your tomatoes in fairs, and you seem to win a lot of awards. Is that right?
We've been very successful.
Yeah.
We've been going down to the Boston statewide show, and we've placed in the top 10 every year we've been there. And this year our goal is for a top 5. So that would
Okay.
be
How about
awesome.
number 1? I think you can.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah.
Let's talk about the other produce here in the farm, because I know that you certainly grow tomatoes, but you grow lettuce and all sorts of perennials. Is that right? And some annuals.
We do. We have this year we've built a new greenhouse at our 895 Mary Diamond Road site, which is right where our base office is. And the whole point of building that greenhouse was to be able to seed 100% of all the product that comes through, both for the tomato seed and for all of our retail plants, our annuals, even some of our perennials. And it's been a fantastic addition, which just kind of sets the table for these greenhouses to come right into full swing in early May. But we also, I think we'll go over to our lettuce house next, and you'll see, I think we have about 2,000 heads of lettuce in there, and we do some basil. We do actually quite a variety of different lettuces, and we're getting a little bit of, we'll get into the cucumber season, and you go over to the flower house too, we'll have a wide range of hanging plants, annuals, and again, some vegetable packs too that'll be for sale retail.
How long have you been the Associate Executive Director of Capabilities?
I've been with Capabilities for 15 years. Most of the time I spent as Director of Business Management, and I've only been the Associate Executive for the past year.
I've noticed that when we've been talking, we see a lot of helpers here, you know, pruning and doing all sorts of things. So let's talk about the participants who actually work in these greenhouses and help produce these wonderful tomatoes.
Yeah, we have some of the things that individuals that worked here. A couple of the guys have been with us the whole 6 years, and I think the neat thing about the program is when they started, a lot of the work here was one-to-one, and a lot of the tasks were very new to everybody, themselves included myself and Bud Hale and Jim Canerium, the farm manager. Everything was sort of new to us. And hydroponics, all of us had sort of a background in farming, but not specific to hydroponics. So I think when we started, it was very much very slow going. The whole process was just a tiny bit overwhelming. But when you look at the guys now and they go through their daily chores, and Mike's over here and John's in the background, they're very independent in their tasks. The training's been very, very good, and they're able to be a very critical part in this process of growing tomatoes. So it's absolutely, their level of independence has grown, and I think their level of pride in their job has grown with that independence.
Right, and they certainly know what they're doing, and you wouldn't be getting these prized tomatoes without it.
Yeah, I think the plants sort of speak for themselves.
They do,
and
they
I
do.
think that one of the things is it's just a very the plants when it gets warm will actually grow almost 6 to 10 inches in a couple days. So these clips that you'll see, the goal is to get them growing straight up the road, and these clips attach them to them. That's sort of
right
what
here,
Mike's
right.
doing.
I've noticed this.
So Mike is doing one of two things right now. He's going through and he's picking the suckers, and those are the little branches that come in the elbows of the tomato and the stem.
Okay.
They pull those out to get one main branch going up, and then as soon as all the foliage from the bottom of the plant up to the first tomato set gets stripped as well, and then once we harvest that first tomato set, then we'll defoliage up to the next tomato set.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's
See,
always,
I'm getting tips here on how to grow my own.
so really all the branches below those tomato sets are taking nutrients and taking away from the actual growing the tomatoes,
the
and we
fruit,
want
right,
to grow
okay.
tomatoes, not branches.
Right, right. Okay, so you do tomatoes, you do lettuce. What other things can folks expect to see in the next couple of weeks and throughout the summer?
All of our annuals, all of our perennials, I think Jim said we had over 900 hanging baskets almost ready to go. We'll push them a little bit and they'll be out Mother's Day, Memorial Day, they'll be absolutely beautiful. But we also partner with several of the local vendors and farmers for honey, jams, and all the products in our retail stand, so everybody can find something fun at the retail spot.
How do you assign the folks who come here for service, like to a particular greenhouse?
Each individual has a vocational assessment they kind of go through depending on which program they come to us from, whether they're the Mass Rehab Commission or the Developmental Disability Services. And what they do is there are vocational people do an assessment, and they look at what their skills, interests, and aptitudes are. And in some cases, they'll come out here and actually do a hands-on assessment to see if this is what interests them.
Right.
If they show some interest and a little bit of skill sets, then we pursue that, or they pursue that, and it sees if it goes into a job. That's kind of the basic way.
Let's talk about your lettuce. Hydroponically grown. It's in another greenhouse. I know we're going to have shots of that later,
Yes.
and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. There's actually the whole lettuce we grow in a sequence, and there's stuff that's about 65 days of big lettuce, and it's 100% ebb and flow hydroponic system. And what you'll see when you go through there is we try to stage it when the readiness of it is, and they grow in 20 plants per row. And in a perfect situation, the good lettuce will be about a third to a half pound per individual plant. 2,000 total plants in the hydroponic lettuce house right now.
So now who's buying this right now? Is this going to restaurants right now?
Yeah, a little bit. We do have some restaurants right now that are just getting going. They're getting actively buying it. It is for sale at our farm stand, and it is for sale up to farm to table. So we're just getting into the lettuce season. The restaurants are just getting going. Some people are coming down, opening their cabins. So it's just getting started. But here forward, I think Jim said we had something like 400 heads of lettuce ready to go out very soon. So the season's here.
Now you have a lettuce program that people can buy into.
We do. On about June 1st, we have what's called, we call it a salad club. And people get a combination of, they'll get a cucumber, they'll get a half a pound of lettuce or mixed greens, they'll get some herbs, they will get a half pound of tomatoes or a full pound of tomatoes, depending on if they're small or large. And then they'll typically get some other things that are seasonally grown. It could be zucchini, it could be summer squash, it could be eggplant. And we bring some of that stuff from our Marston's Mills farm over to kind of supplement that salad club.
Okay, and how do folks, if they're interested in becoming a member of the Salad Club, what do they need to do?
Yeah, if they would talk to Shanda Hiller.
Okay.
She's over at our Independence site, and if you dial 508-778-5040 and get Shanda, she'll set you up.
Okay, super. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and good luck with the office.
Thanks.